based on the input that they got at that workshop, where we looked at the lake in all these different ways and talked about kind of our dreams and what we wished could be there. And now, 2 months later, that's kind of come together in this concept. And after they present it and we give them feedback, there's going to be another round of thinking and planning and getting prepared for a final presentation of the concept that we've all worked on together in early February at the library.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming. I'm Kaya Pugh. As Tamar said, I'm the director of the Hudson Valley Initiative at Columbia University's Graduate School of Architecture, Planning, and Preservation. And with me are Lorena Galval and Silver, who have worked with me for the last 2 months on these ideas. Before we jump into the ideas, I want to spend a little bit of time sort of recapping how we got there. So it all started in August, actually, this year, when we went out to Oakdale and worked with the kids in the summer camp and talked about ideas for their dream playground with the younger kids that spent most of their time at the playground area. And then we also walked around the lake with a group of older kids, and we designed some signs for a nature trail. They showed us where you can find what, or where you don't find certain animals, or where the poison ivy is to look out for. We put those signs up around the trail in the summer. They're not there anymore. They weren't very durable, but they were sort of an initial exercise for us to understand the lake through the eyes of the kids that spend their summers there. And then, as Tamar mentioned, we came back in October to get everyone involved in the community to think about Oakdale through 3 different lenses. Oakdale as youth infrastructure, which it is very much in the summer. Oakdale as a public park, and Oakdale as a nature preserve. And these are just sort of some ideas of the kinds of things that you all either do at Oakdale or would like to do at Oakdale. And then here's a few summaries of some things that stuck with us from these conversations that we tried to incorporate into the ideas that we want to present tonight. Things like, one critical aspect on rainy days, summer camp has to be canceled because there isn't a covered area. And so even if there's just a chance of rain and it's uncertain, there isn't a place to go for kids. Others are ideas for more science programming or learning opportunities around the trail, designated fishing spots. And then we also heard very clearly the skate park is just not working because you literally, stop on the ground as soon as you're trying to skate because the surface is so coarse that it kind of stalls it. Keep it natural were some comments, so only create sort of small moments along the trail to observe, to rest, maybe to learn something. But other things are also the trails are eroding, so we need to do a little bit to improve the conditions around the lake. Something that some people in Hudson might still be surprised about, I've heard these comments over and over from people who haven't spoken to Nick yet, that they think the lake is polluted. That's not the case. It's actually pretty good water quality, but it looks icky. There's too much algae. And then here are just a few more other comments that picnic areas or barbecue would be nice. There was a lot of discussion about a beer garden. Yes, some concession would be nice, but please not too fancy. And bathrooms that are open past the summer camp time so that people who use the park in the fall or off-season also have the ability to use the bathroom. Then some other ideas were a buffer to the road so that you don't stand there in your bathing suit right next to 6th Street. Lighting that you can skate, or play basketball in the evening hours, and a better playground structure. We started taking a look, so as we took in all of these ideas, we started to take a look and zoomed out of Oakdale to just better understand where it sits in the larger context. And so one thing that we were interested in was, how do you get to the lake? How far is it? And zooming out, show kind of what there are some places that are actually extremely close, and access to the lake is currently not as great as it could be. So for instance, from the middle school, it's a 5-minute walk really through a trail that we're a little bit of improvement to make that much easier for kids from the middle school to go to the lake, even for a classroom. We think improved access from Spring Street would also help a lot of people from the Boulevards area to get to the beach. And as you can see here already, we're proposing to create a new entrance from North 7th Street, and we'll zoom in and explain that in a little bit, so that the entrance area where it is now can be a little bit more decongested and less dangerous for the kids, not so many cars coming in and out. What this larger area also shows you that Oakdale is actually at the center of it's kind of a node for habitat as well, because there are lots of green areas surrounding Hudson, and both Underhill Pond and Oakdale are they're an area that connects these green areas, and that is really important for habitat, be it insects, turtles and frogs, birds. They all need connected green areas in order to sort of live and survive and reproduce. So Oakdale plays a very important role there too, and the kids will tell you that they find a lot of different species in this area. So just a couple of, and very quick, because I think most of you know this history much better than I do, but I wanted to remind everyone that Oakdale is not a natural lake. It's an artificial lake that was created a little over 100 years ago. What you can see here in this map from 1893, I believe it is Underhill Pond, and you see all these fingers leading into Underhill Pond. And this is also a way of seeing that these creeks and water arms are now feeding Oakdale. So there is a natural water source that feeds Oakdale, and then from Oakdale the water goes into Underhill Pond. Here's an image from the 1960s that reminds us what it used to look like and how busy and active it was as a lake. And now we get into our ideas. And so one thing that we looked at is how can we create a vision for Oakdale that consists of many small ideas, where each of them could be implemented and funded and advocated for individually and could succeed without the others, but all together they make one big vision. So we have 8 ideas, 8 plus 1 really, and we'll talk about the plus 1 at the end. And because most of them are sort of geographically located around the lake. And I'll go through this on this slide quickly, and then we'll have images to sort of illustrate how all of these 8 ideas look. So the first one is renovate the beach house and improve the entrance area. Maybe create a concession bar within the beach house, just declutter the beach house. That will require also moving some things out of the beach house. The other big move there would be to close the entrance at North 6th Street for cars and make it a pedestrian and bicycles only, emergency vehicles only, and move that entrance to the bottom at North 7th Street, which is kind of right now a very underutilized road, but can provide simple access to the road. The second idea is kind of a larger one, and that's the idea to reorganize all that asphalt and combine basketball, skateboarding, and parking into one landscape that could be multi-purpose. And depending on what use is needed most, you can skate on the basketball courts, you can skate on the parking lots to a certain extent. You can also park on the basketball courts at larger events, and we'll show some images of how that would work. Third idea is to create a new pavilion. The current one that's up here is a little small, and so we think that should just simply be replaced to provide enough covered area for all the kids in summer camp and also for others that want to have a picnic there. And with the rearranging of the asphalt areas, it would also allow us to have a larger lawn here in front of that picnic. Fourth idea is clearer waters. how they work in a little bit. Idea number 5 is a forest classroom, and that really covers the entire trail along the lake with different moments, be it at these small ponds here or the bridge where you cross the bridge over to the other side, to create small installations that allow everybody really to stop, to engage with nature, to learn something about nature. This will also include maybe an infrastructure of trash cans so that everyone feels like this area is a little bit more cared for. Number 6 is a new playground. And this playground we think should include a covered area. It also should include some bathrooms so that during summer camp, small children don't have to walk all the way over to the beach house to go to the bathroom. There could be a little bit of storage so that equipment, play equipment, can stay at the playground area. Number 7 we're calling the picnic grove, and this is an area that we think is actually quite beautiful and maybe just needs a little bit of an upgrade to make it more usable, especially for instance, swimmers who want to really swim in the water is a little deeper there. It could be an area for birthday parties, just sort of another area to access the lake without being at the beach. And then number 8 is this buffer area along the street where we envision that we're creating a buffer so that you can't directly see the lake so clearly from the street, and a little bit more of a walkway and an area to jump into the water. And then the +1 is the winter time, and how can we bring ice skating back to the lake. So, some images. The beach house. Here you see sort of a rendering of the beach house from its entrance and vision without cars. And what that allows is that you really have a plaza in front of the beach house where you can have tables and chairs. If there's a concession stand inside, you could bring your food outside and eat it here, or of course to the beach. But you can use that entire area to play. And we have a little bit of a sketch of what will happen inside the beach house. Renovate the locker rooms and bathrooms with doors on either side so that, in the wintertime you can close up the doors here, but you could still at least access the bathrooms from the outside. The center part really gets opened up to become kind of an area where you can sit and eat food. You can do that all seasons if you find a concession that is open all seasons. So this brings back this idea of in the winter time you can sit at the fireplace with your hot chocolate after ice skating. And as some of you may notice to know the interior better, we flipped the whole arrangement and moved the youth office to this side because we felt like the bathrooms are better closer to where a lot of the other action is. And we moved everything that has to do with lifeguards and first aid that is currently in the building outside into an extra box, a container of some sort, onto the beach area. The proposal is really to make some room for this central space here so that that space can be celebrated more. And then this is closer to where equipment is needed on the beach. And then here you can also see that this front area in front of the building would be pedestrian only. Across in these sheds, they're in the process right tomorrow of opening a bike repair shop, so that could then also sort of spill out into this space that's now no longer for parking and be open to bicycle parking. Oh, one other thing that's maybe important is, so and this came in discussions with a few of you earlier, that there would be a drop-off zone in front here because we would envision that both buses as well as parents would still come to this area to drop off their kids. And so accommodating that rather than creating a traffic hazard.
Sorry, can everyone hear me? The second idea is rethinking how can we accommodate basketball and skating and parking in a way that start to reduce the amount of asphalt, but that also makes it more interactive and allows for both functions parking now, access now from down here. Cars can look around, there's some more parking more up front. For people that go more often there or part of the summer camp, but that also we can start to use the existing grade over here to start to create those ramps, and how also that starts to help the water flow for stormwater with the creek that is over here currently. At the same time, we start to free up this land over here, allowing it for more activities, for example, the soccer game and things like that. These are some examples of some precedents that start to combine those activities. Our third idea is the pavilion, replacing the pavilion with a bigger structure. And the way we thought that is that we could start thinking about a module, and that this module could be aggregated, and then that could also allow the pavilion to increase in size over time. And with some shading structures over here, that could also play with some activities and some privacy, and how freeing up the strong lawn starts to also allow it for activities and interactions to happen. Here are some more images of how those structures can start to
Okay, yeah. So idea 4 was to clear the water using natural methods. There are a number of ways to do that. The one that Nick is currently doing is he is growing enzymes currently in the beach house, and is just, in the summertime is distributing them regularly into the water. And what happens is, I should step back quickly. Leaves fall into the water. They essentially create too much a lot of nitrogen that feeds algae, because there isn't a lot of other plants in the lake itself that could absorb all this nitrogen. So these enzymes, bacteria that are fed by these enzymes, are eating some of the algae, but that's of course very limited, because it depends very much on one person literally walking out into the lake and distributing gallons of enzymes. So some other ideas are floating islands with plants that can absorb some of these excess nutrients. Also more planting at the edges of aquatic plants that can absorb these excess nutrients. And then just a fountain or a pump somewhere in the water that can also help to aerate the water more, will reduce the amount of algae in the water. Here's an example image of these floating islands. So they're really just islands with plants on them. They can have many forms. You could build them in a way that you could swim there and actually sort of climb onto these islands. These are examples that are really just for the plants themselves. And they can be planted with all sorts of plants, even sort of edible plants.
So number 6, it's proposed by our forest classroom, and a series of smaller interventions along the nature trail. And the idea is that kids and everyone could have an extra space to go and sit down, especially for the summer camp, that kids could go there and draw and learn and have a space where they could sit and interact. So are those just a series of smaller interventions that could start to use a lot of the same elements, creating an identity for the lake, but that also shows that the lake's taken care of,
it would be the pavilion, here would be all the playgrounds, rocks, and the trail, so the play station. And this is some kind of precedence that we are conditioned in this area. And other idea of creating these stands, for example, this is an insect hotel where kids can start interacting, with how all these living organisms work. Some garden stands for also this kind of interactions. And then is these kind of pavilions that are more intimate to create some kind of place where people can sit and like be kind of silent and contemplate the view of the lake or the forest and all the different furniture that is going to create different activities for people.
So our eighth idea is that buffer zone between the lake and the road back here, kind of blending within that edge to create more privacy for the lake, but also creating a new boardwalk that gives people more opportunities to jump into the water and start to function as a new kind of bleachers instead of the ones that are currently here. That this would start also, people who are sitting here, it would start to reestablish some of this historical connection of the swimming here. And that right here in the back is the idea of creating a place more for toddlers that they could play with the water, so that could be also more. And here are some more images of what those things can start. And again, kind of creating this little buffer zone over here, reconnecting the two sides. Here with the lifeguard.
Yes, and finally, this kind of vision of bringing back the activity on the winter, the skating, like the pavilions being also active during this time of the year. And this is more intended to vision. So what we would like to do now is maybe have a little bit, if there are questions about the presentation, have, as a whole group a Q&A now. But then we also have large maps and site plans at these tables, and if time allows, we would love to break up and have more of a discussion about these ideas and get your input, like literally in writing and drawing on these maps of what should go where or what you like, what you don't like. And then lastly, over there on the wall we have sign-in sheets, and so these are meant to ask you for your general interest for any of these ideas, which one you're more excited about, which one you want to be involved in, helping to develop further and really implement. So you're not signing up for a committee with any sort of forced commitment just yet, but it'll be great to see who's interested in what, and if we can move towards forming, or you can move towards forming committees to work on any of these 8+1 ideas. Any questions so far about these ideas here? Nikki has one.
I have some, I like the latter one I saw. The office being moved to the other side is an issue to me only because I'm on the summer program and I wouldn't be able to see everything from there. Another thing is, by looking at that, it looked like we were going to lose parking spots. I don't know if I was seeing that right or not.
So our idea is that you wouldn't you wouldn't lose the total parking spots for an event, but you couldn't play basketball and skate and park 70 cars at the same time, that's true.
So that would be an issue for something that we have. And the other thing, a lot of the things I saw in there, I just think that we need to talk to the health department, because I think some of that stuff isn't going to happen per their rules, because we're permitted through the health department. There's certain things that we have to do, and the natural playground, some of that stuff, like not allowing them. There's a bunch of rules that, so that was just another thing that I want to make sure that we look into. Lifeguards was another thing. With a lot of that stuff, you're going to need a lot more lifeguards and seats in different places too.
I had a question. These are beautiful plans. It's really very exciting. It was at the last meeting at the Hudson Library. It was pointed out that there was a large parcel of undeveloped land that belongs to the city of Hudson, and was the idea of expanding the park there. I was wondering why that didn't come up in your plans at all.
You're referring to the parcel across the street from the fire department?
No, it's adjacent to the Oakdale Park.
Can you point it out on the map?
I don't think it's included here, but the maps that were before, it's in this area right here.
Or Underhill Pond is?
No, it's where Spring Street is.
Oh, here.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
Over here.
Over here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I mean, that's an interesting point. We consider this to be part of the park. I think our ideas was not to sort of do any more sort of physical interventions in that area other than improving that pathway from Spring Street to the lake itself, so that it's maybe also accessible by bicycle. So in one of the sketches you saw a gravel path, that's what that was referring to. But we're interested in ideas of what else could happen in this otherwise very forested and partially also fragile area, because there's the wetlands and the streams that lead into Oakdale run through that area.
You're saying it would be a trail connecting the end of Spring Street where that ends all the way to the park?
There is a trail there now, it's just often not so easy accessible because of fallen trees.
They do, especially yet from there. But I thought that was National Grid property behind there.
All of that property is, to our knowledge, city property.
Well,
All the way up to,
there's some county land back there too, I think, right?
it's,
Well,
according to the property maps that we looked at, it's all city property. So where that fence is, and somewhere in the middle, it's fence between city and city. Yeah. Other questions, comments?
I talked to Tamar just a little bit about the connection of Oakdale Lake with some of the other semi-wild areas such as Underhill, and there's actually somewhat of a semi-natural pathway all the way to the Hudson River. And one of the things, I love all the ideas here, I'm more concerned though with access to this, because if we can't get to it more easily, then all the features that you're adding don't help make the park more popular. And Hudson's a very difficult city to walk across town in. The streetscapes are broken up, there's all kinds of buildings missing, the sidewalks are everywhere, but you can move Warren Street, Union Street easily. Moving across town is very difficult. So I was just wondering if you can take that sort of green swath from Oakdale to Underhill Pond, extending all the way to the Hudson River. Have you looked at Oakdale in that context as part of a linear park, a green series of green linked spaces that residents could get to at many points, from which they then in turn would get to Oakdale Lake?
So this is showing that we looked at it in the context of some of the trail work that is happening kind of in parallel to this. So the Empire State Trail is the trail, it's the yellow line on the top. That is in planning and will, as you said, connect very close by. The yellow line at the bottom, there's currently a feasibility study being done for the, is that done? There's an idea for this Boston Albany trail along, and again, this is sort of state initiatives to turn rails into trails. This is an active rail line, and the idea is to even look into how can you create a trail next to an active rail. This is not very frequently used rail. So we look at it in the context of what else is going on, but not so much as part of this project, also taking on, all of Hudson's pedestrian and bicycle lanes. But I think we agree that that's important.
Well, I guess just a connection to Underhill Pond is as a start. I was intrigued by the sort of boardwalk that was introduced along the roadway, which kind of works against, it's a piece I like best, but also works against what I'm suggesting. But I still would love to see if you could get this connected to the Underhill Pond. There's actually a lovely jet of land that extends out into Underhill Pond, and which is a wonderful feature, great place to incorporate more of, I think, some of the natural, the opportunity to experience the natural environment.
Yeah, we can get into that more. So, and we're suggesting that we at least create an entrance way on this side that would connect to that trail over to the middle school and to Underhill.
I fish a lot.
I know, it was a leading question.
I read that. So, a lot of the fishing stuff, you know, with the pond and that, you can get to the Columbia County Federation of Sportsmen. They can assist a lot with ideas for this lake, okay? And they have a lot of resources to, whether it's restocking the lake and the correct fish to put in there, not just dumping anything in there that swims. I was going to lead into another question off of fishing, is this park's been around for eons. I grew up in Clover since '64. There's always the core group of people that got the ideas and put stuff together, and everybody wants this and wants that. What is the enthusiasm of volunteerism to be able to accomplish the task? You can eat the elephant one bite at a time. So, with subgroups and things like that, somebody goes, all right, we got a group, kids teaching, you know, how to prune trees, make trails. I mean, that's what we did as a kid, playing in the woods. So a lot of these kids, well, what's this? No more switch. Put that away for a couple weeks. We're gonna go outside and do something. So have you tackled that thing? Because all these ideas are great, but when there's no labor or, you know, mentoring kids about, hey, let's do this, let's do that. You see what I'm getting at?
I think that was one of the reasons that they, I mean, I can't speak for you, but I think one of the reasons that they broke it down into like these 8 things was so that people here, including you, could actually so that we can start doing that right now. So that we could start saying, I'm actually interested in working on trail maintenance. You know, not just like talking about it, but if you sign your name up on that, number 1, number 2, whatever it is, then we start doing it. Like, essentially, I think that's exactly what we want to do, and we want to start it today.
The other question too is, have you researched some of the areas? I'm sure Nick and everybody here is pretty sharp on this. Grant programs throughout the state and stuff like that. You know, you look at Lake Taconic, they got a lot of neat stuff down there. Unfortunately, they closed the old beach some 10 years ago, 12 years ago, but it's a nice beach house, and they did some improvements. They built a nice playground. They got just kind of quick ideas, but they also kept the habitat natural. Nothing all this colorful stuff, you know, everything was painted brown. You got nice picnic tables, and they kind of let things natural. And that's kind of neat about Oakdale. It's in the middle of the city. You got this woods and a lake, and they try to maintain that. But there was always, I remember for years, picnic tables on the hill. Nobody ever used them. They sat there right away. You know, so that, you know, maybe doing a weekend concert, maybe even jazz or something like that. You know, different things. People start coming there and go, wow, this is a cool place. And then they take ownership of it.
Yeah, but that's exactly what we want to have.
Okay.
That sounds great.
Yeah, they were all on the same sheet of music.
Yeah, and so, you know, we quite literally, we put up sign-up sheets over there on the walls, so to just identify, you know, what they're small, some of them are very small ideas and they're very doable. And I think as we want to refine this, we also want to think about in each of these visions, what is a low-hanging fruit? Like, how do we organize a trail maintenance crew or a teaching program for kids? And then others are, of course, much bigger. Rearranging this whole asphalt area or even renovating the beach house requires some money and grant funding. But there's sort of a combination of the low-hanging fruits and the bigger vision in each of these 8+1 ideas that hopefully makes them doable.
Maybe before we break up, pizza break, but also I wanted to just make sure that we say thank you to Nick and Nikki and to everybody that works at the youth department for hosting us and everybody here is the people that, you know, makes Oakdale as usable and wonderful and maintains it. So that's awesome work. Pizza break? There's lukewarm pizza right over there. Help yourself.